What's up? It's your boy Humbledad back with another edition of Humbledad Podcast. Now, everyone says marriage is hard, but no one tells you why. Today, we're talking about what makes it tough, but also what makes it worth it. And I got a new friend coming along to hang out with us. Welcome to the stage, Davon in the building. What's going on, sir?
How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm good. How are you doing today?
Man, your energy, I already know it's going to be good. So, we're going to get right into it. How long you been married, my dude?
I've been married for 5 years, man. 5 years.
Oh, you're a youngster.
Yeah, I'm new in the game.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you new in the game, but I wouldn't think that it was 5 years though.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
actually 30 years old.
oh, that's what's up. It must be the beard you shaved. I gotta do. Maybe I can get back to that. All right, that's what's up, man. So you're seasoned enough to provide context to some of this information out here. All right, so we're gonna start with the hard, maybe a hard question, maybe not. What do you think marriage, or why do you think marriage feels harder today than in past generations?
I would say that marriage is harder today just based off of it's got to be society. I
Mm,
think back in the day, I feel like it was more normal to have, the wife, the husband together growing up. The marriage was more so like a positive outlook. I feel like in today's culture, I feel like in the generation today, it's just like it's like people are running from it. And from my perspective, it's just feel like people are caring to get married. They're either just living together forever, or that's not a goal of theirs that they're kind of trying to strive for. So I think with that being in the back of people's mind, I think that makes it harder altogether, just based off of like the culture itself and like just different times, bro. Like back then it was a big deal. Like you get married, you stay married. I felt like even back in the day, grandparents, like even when you went through something, it would stay a little hard. You stay longer, you go through it. Nowadays, if you even care to, first second thing that you don't like, you jumping out looking for your options for the next thing. So I just think this society and this culture today is just I think that's a big reason.
yeah, that sounds about right. So what would you think that the reason, like anything that you can point to of why would society want to make such a shift of where you're looking at marriage as a positive thing, but then now it's like marriage is not good at all.
Yeah, I think they're trying to. I think it's a bigger agenda, to be honest. And I'm probably sure you've heard before, but like just the whole idea of breaking down the whole family dynamic and the whole unit as a whole, getting the man out the house and having promoting the single mom and having the mom she could do it all on her own and stuff. So I think it's a bigger agenda behind it that's pushing this. Is now your music. No one's promoting like marriage and music. So like then with the higher agenda up here, and then it just funnels down. So then with them wanting to do that, then you're promoting let's have a whole bunch of people, let's not like settle down and stuff like that. But I do think that with the power, when we come together, I think that it's a God created thing, and like when two people unite, when a union comes together, it goes places. And I don't think maybe they don't want to see that. I don't know whatever the reason is behind what the reason of that power is, but I think it's a higher agenda behind it that's pushing this down to the masses, to the culture, to now our society or our peers are now is embedded in their mind just based off of everyday conversations that is not something they're looking for or that they want to do.
Yeah, I see your thought process. It is I believe there's a higher agenda. I've been saying that for quite a long time. Some of the things that I connected to is two things for me. I would say one is the more single people that there are, the more money they can make, right? So if there are two households spending, then that's two households that are giving money back to whoever they is, right? The government, if you will. And then the second thing is that I was just listening to this podcast. I can't remember the married couple's name. I wish I could remember. I think her name is Tasha. They're husband and wife, obviously, but they are a pastor. And he was talking about how the devil doesn't want marriage to be successful because it's something that God ordained,
Mm.
right? And so he's going to do everything that he can to make it look bad, which is interesting because before marriages were fine. he's and the devil is always busy. So like, what was he doing prior to trying to do what he's doing now? Right. So how did you? I'm gonna go back to when you first got married, right? How did your expectations of marriage differ from reality?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. So it definitely does. I think and everyone's reality is different. So I guess that kind of depends on where you come from. So if you come from a marriage and you have something to like a blueprint to go off of,
Yeah.
then that's one way. So and I had the luxury of having like parents not together, so I got to see like multiple sides of what a marriage can or can't look like. So like my reality was a bunch of like in full transparency, like what I knew more of what I didn't want than what I was looking for coming into it. And maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. But like coming into it, I was like, I know what I don't want. So I was coming to it and like, I don't want you to do this and this. And it probably came off kind of toxic in the beginning. But coming into the marriage, when I would see different things and it wasn't the way I anticipated or I initially thought it would go. It was a struggle at first, to be honest. Like it'd be certain scenarios where it's just like, if you have an old school, let's say dad mentality, who's like, your wife's supposed to cook, clean, do the dishes, do all this. And when you get into a marriage in year one, and then you have a wife who's like, you know what? No, I have more of a voice. Maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe I want to have a career, get into my whatever I want to do, right? And it's like you might have been embedded like in your mind, like, wait, I thought it was supposed to be like this. So then coming into it, I'm just like, it was shifts and pivots and stuff. And so what I had to learn was like what works in this household or this household ain't necessarily gonna work in yours, bro. So you gotta navigate, gotta move. Y'all gotta come together on an agreement, not based off of your previous thoughts of how this thing is supposed to go. So yeah.
That's solid, man. So how did you get to the point of like, okay, I understand that your process of thinking about being a wife is different than mine and vice versa. So how did you get to maybe a common ground, if you will? Like what would that look like?
Not to say the cliche communication, but like really communicating, but not just communicating, but like communicating to hear her. Like that was a struggle. Like I would, yeah, you can have dialogue, but if I'm already trying to get my next point across, I'm not even understanding what you're saying anyway. So I had to how did I get there? It was just honestly trial and error, to be honest. It didn't happen overnight. But like her like really explaining herself to me and it's still not clicking. But like over time, like, no, this is what I like. This is what I and so like changing my way of communicating to listen and understand versus just no, this is the way it's supposed to be. So like run into that brick wall, like, no, this is we keep going into it. But eventually it was just like, okay, wait, all right, let me take two steps back. Let me just okay, and then repeating it back to you like, all right, so you're saying you don't like doing XYZ because of this, right? And like Amelia is just me processing in my head what she's saying so I can understand. But that's really what it was, honestly, just me having to hear her out, but like really hear her out and like because she's telling usually they're telling you what they want anyway. It's just you already got in your head what the answer really is. So at least but I had to start learning to like really listen and like really, you know what I mean? Listen to really understand, you know?
Yes, I do. So what I say it's kind of like listening to understand, as you say, and not listening to solve, which is our challenge, right? That have you seen the I should have had it. The video is called The Nail in the Head.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so the video is about 12 years old, and it's where the lady has a nail in her head, and the guy is trying to tell her, she's talking about the frustrations that she's having, and she said it's just really stressful. It's a pain. It's like really bothering me. He said, well, there is a nail in your head. And she said, it's not about the nail. You're not listening, right? This
Right.
so it goes on about a minute and 40 seconds. So the point of the clip is obviously women communicate way different than guys. Guys, we're wanting to hear you, ladies, but you just want us. We want to hear you and solve it. You just want us to listen. right? So it's almost counterintuitive for us not to help you resolve the problem that you don't want to be solved.
Right.
That's not about.
I get it. No, I literally have to, like, when my wife comes to me with something, I've learned to say, okay, are you telling me this because you just need a listening ear? Or are you telling me this because you need advice? Because I'm so quick to just, you're telling me this, we'll do this, this, and this, and then it'll fix it. And sometimes she's like, look, I just need you to hear me out. I just want you to just hear me. Let me just decompress. So I literally was like, okay, cool. So I try to ask that question, like, what, you just need to listen? Okay, cool. And I'll just listen without trying to like solve her.
Yeah, that's sad that I didn't do that the other day, bro. Like, um, as I'm thinking about you saying that, and we had a miscommunication, and what I realized now talking to you was that she just wanted me to listen, even though there was a problem going on.
Right.
Okay. And so I get you, and that's the challenge for sure. So what's one challenge that surprised you most about being married?
A challenge that surprised me the most about being married. I'd say a challenge that we experienced was just to go like a little bit more in the weeds of like my actual marriage. We were together since college. Um, yeah, dated for like 5 years before actually getting married. So prior to marriage, my wife, she was very like, she was just very like go with the flow, very just like, I mean, I'm not saying I was like controlling, but like it was to the point where I'd be like, all right, I don't like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Let's not always do what I want. She was always like really like, what I mean, really going for what I wanted to do. And that was our norm. And so after marriage, I remember like year one, I guess she had like decided that she ain't about to do this for the rest of her life, right? So like I'm used to this for like the last 5 years. Like you was just easy going. And it's like she found her voice in like year one. And so that was like a shock for me because I'm like, I'm all for it. Like I've been wanting you to do this for years, but it just came overnight. And so it was just like for me to answer your question, that was a challenge. Like coming into it, it was like it was almost like having to relearn someone all over again. So it was like,
Yeah,
okay, so you do like oranges instead of apples, for example. You know, like, all right, cool. So like me trying to navigate through that, but like that was a challenge because that wasn't like coming into it. It was that wasn't the flow we had, but we
yeah,
took a pivot. But I respect it because now going forward into it, now she definitely has her voice. She has no problem explaining, saying what she has, and now we can navigate together through it.
that's
We
what's
could have did earlier on, but hey, look, hey, shout outs to her for getting that in year one because this is a forever type thing. So it's like she was like, hey, I ain't about to go like this forever. So
that's what's up because for the you don't know my story, but my story is that I was married to Janir, my first wife, for 14 years, and I lost her. She passed away, and then I got remarried, and now I'm married for the past 2 years, and trying to there are things I have to unlearn, but there were things that I did learn that I have to be in this particular marriage, right? And so as you're saying what you're saying, I'm thinking, okay, well, I do this. I listen to her, and I gotta listen to her differently because I knew somebody before, but this is not that person, right? So in your situation, it's the same person, but a different person.
exactly.
And so, but as the Bible says, it says that we should dwell with them with understanding, right? We got to get to know them on a regular basis. And so the way that we get to know them is if they're talking to us, right? And if we ask them questions. And I love that you said communication is a big deal. It sounds cliche, but communication is two ways, right? Um, there is going to be some challenging conversations. So, how would you advise people to go? Well, men, we go with men. How would you can give advice to women too, but how would you give, what advice would you give to them to say, okay, this is how you go at having a conversation?
Specifically like challenging ones.
Yeah, like a challenging conversation.
Yeah, no, challenging conversations are they're needed. I think a lot of times we avoid them as men,
Mm.
myself included. If it's a difficult one and we're happy, I'm like, I'm not about to mess this moment up, right? So why would I bring this up? So that's how I think, but it's worth it, bro. So how I would say is usually what I'll do is I'll come up to her and I'll kind of lay the foundation out the gate. If I know it's something hard, I'll break the ice like, hey, look, I need this. Is this a safe space? Like,
Mm.
is this a safe space? Like right out the gate. So whatever I'm about to say next, that immediately allows her to just like, all right, even if it's something I don't like, he's trying to be vulnerable. He's trying to communicate. I know it's hard for him. So let me at least not attack or whatever. So like that's my initial thing that I'll do that helps for me is this a safe space? Of course, they'll be like, yeah, because they want you to know, they want to know what you got to say anyway. So say yeah. And then from there, I'll just break it out and say whatever it is that's challenging and just kind of just go for it. And what I've learned too is most of the time when you have that conversation, whether it goes the way you want it to or not, it's just a sigh of relief after, like, all right, man, I'm glad I just said that, whatever. Like, even if she ain't like respond the way you want it, it's just like, I
Yeah.
said what I had to say. I got my piece and I can keep it moving. So that's
So
how I feel about it.
that is good though. That may be how you do it, but I think that's a really good nugget for those that are listening, because that's usually the challenge: is how do you deliver a hard message? And if you're saying it's going to be a hard message, it might as well say similar to how they'll say, "Don't cancel me for this."
Right.
Now you already know that the conversation is about to be something heavy, right? And in this regard, though, it's probably going to be something about them that you didn't like, and that's a challenge for some women to hear a negative about them, right? And
Right.
so we have to, and some men too, women have, we have to season our conversation with salt, as it says. So I applaud you on that one for sure. That's good stuff right there. So um, you said that conversations are needed. Why do you believe that hard conversations are needed?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because just because you don't have it doesn't mean it's not going to linger throughout the years. If there's something, I feel like, and this is my opinion, but I feel like a lot of divorces, a lot of people that end up not together, it's usually not a big thing that just happened. It's probably just a lot of little conversations, a lot of little things that irked you over the years that you never addressed that turned into something big that you feel like is just so big you can't do it anymore. But I feel like when you have those little ones, you addressed it, you can move forward and keep going. I think that helps you in the long run. That's why I feel like it's needed, because when you don't have it, it's little now, just something small. Oh, you didn't put the sock in the laundry thing, but year after year after year, the same thing. You never address it, and next thing you know, it's a big deal, but it really wasn't. It's never that. You could have addressed it. You at least, and then it's needed because you give the other person a chance to fix something that's bothering you. Like, I don't think it's fair to the other person if they're doing something you don't like and then you don't communicate it to them and you're just holding something against them, but they don't even have no idea. Like, at least give them the opportunity to address or correct the thing that you feel is wrong. So that's why I feel like it's needed as well, because it's only fair to your other half, and this goes both sides, man or woman. But like, how can they self-correct or be a better spouse for you if they don't even know the things they're doing wrong? So I think it's needed.
How did you learn these things, my dude?
Man,
Because the reason why I say, because you're giving nuggets that are like seasoned individual, because the 7 year mark is where people say that
yeah.
uh the marriages kind of start going away or ending, but you have found the fountain of youth of marriage, really, with the things that you're saying. So how did you learn these things?
I think two ways. I'll say the first one is trial and error, just going through life. To be honest, I don't have it all together. We make my mistakes here too.
Yeah.
And I think two, this is probably like a little cheat code, but my wife went to school for marriage and family therapy. Yeah. So, but imagine being married to somebody who went to school so marriage and family therapy. So like now, like me saying like I had to get to this point, like me saying like I don't know after everything's going on. That's not something, she ain't accepting that. Like she's like, no, I don't know is not an answer.
Yeah.
Give me some more. So she's peeling layers and she's helping me open up. So that's honestly, that's probably a key that I probably just me conversating with you where I'm coming up with like this is probably where a lot of it, because just learning from my wife, like she has the book knowledge, and then she would come home and then apply it on me. So then we would figure it out together. So I think that's probably the cheat code too of like how something comes up.
That's what's up. What makes you humble enough to receive direction from your wife? Considering the thing you said in the beginning, there are men that are saying, "It's I'm the man, so everything that I say goes." Whereas opposed to if we're working as a team, it just so happens I'm the captain, that I need to have her word, right? I need to know what it is that she's thinking. So, what gives you that humility to say, you know what, I don't know this. I'm gonna learn from her.
It's challenging at times. I'm not gonna even sit here and be like
So,
every time. And a lot of times too, what I notice that I struggle with is she'll say it initially, and I probably won't go for it the initial go around. But I'm the type to go back after that same conversation. I'm gonna go sit by myself after, and I'm gonna ponder what she said. I'm like, dang, she's kind of right. And then I'm gonna
mm,
circle back on it. But my initial response usually isn't just like, yeah, you're right. Nah, I don't usually do that. But I think that it also comes back to like just me understanding that dang, she just might be more not like I do understand that I'm like I might be lacking in this area, and it only makes sense to like you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like if I under if and we both have different strengths, right? And whoever is stronger in an area, like I feel like we should drive that one home. So that's how it is too. Just me trying to like really understand that she's probably like I understand that it's tough for me to communicate sometimes. I wasn't the best communicator or expressing my feelings or my emotions and things. So I struggle with this. So if she gives advice in an area, then I'm gonna be like, not initially, but I'm trying to get to the point where it's initially right. But eventually, I'm gonna be like, dang, she is kind of right, and I'm gonna sit on it. So that's kind of how.
that's thank you for the transparency, because that's really good to say. Initially I don't. However, I know that I got to get over my ego,
Right.
because if I'm trying to win and I want the winning is about us. It's not about you or I, right? And so if we can get individuals to understand that this marriage thing is hard, but so is a lot of other things. Let me show you what I mean by that as well. I was talking to these individuals, men, on this podcast, and they was talking about marriage and how you know it make more sense to just not be together. I mean, sorry, be together in the house but not be married. And how it would affect the kid. I was trying to tell them it's going to affect the kid, right? And I said, what's interesting to me about black people specifically, right? Because most of the panel was black. I said we are the fastest to get into a business, and the business is the hardest thing to do. And the sustainability of a business, black people fail at it the fastest as well, right? However, it doesn't stop us from trying to find a business to do. We're trying to find a business that will work for us, whether it's a get rich quick, or trying to find the next thing that will make us money long term. So I said, what black people don't do is go find out where the person that does it well is doing it. And so in that, because I had wrote my dissertation on it, and so one of the things that it talked about is that we need more mentors,
Mhm.
and we need a group of people that just not going to say yes to us. Like if you got an accountability partner, you don't want them to just say yes, you're right all the time type deal. And so yes, it's hard, but it's needed because of how it affects our community. So I'm gonna go to the Bible for you, right? So when you look at when you hear the words, it's not good for a man to be alone. What does that mean to you?
It's not good for a man to be alone. Is I think it can have several meanings. It can. I feel like first off, just when you're when you're a man and you're in pursuit of your journey, your purpose, and everything, when you have just you that you're doing it for, I think it's a ceiling that you'll go. I think it's but so hard you'll go, myself included. But I think when you have a bigger meaning, a bigger purpose, a bigger why, a other half, a better half, it'll push you as a man to be even more because now you have more responsibility. You have somebody who's relying on you, who's dependent on you, and so I think that that's a good reason why it's probably not good for a man to be alone. Whereas if he's trying to reach his fullest potential, um, and I think that would be I think that would be my main reason as to why it probably wouldn't be.
Man, listen, that's a very good start, right? Because on the same podcast, they would say that the man would still become as great as he is even without her.
Mm.
Right? So it's like, what's your thought on that?
I disagree. I feel like I think they have a point where that guy would become pretty great wherever, and I feel like whatever standard he does meet, I'm this is just my opinion, but I'm 1,000% sure that whatever he did reach, plus somebody, it would go even higher. Like he like where's the measure where we're measuring that? But I do think I think that, yeah, you can have plenty of great men. I do, but I do think that when you have the right woman, the right person with you, it only it helps. It only expands. Like she's like the neck, you're like the head, and she see things you don't see. She can pour into you. Like no, I think it goes way higher. I do. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's good, man. And also studies show it to be way different as well, in the sense of what you're saying, that men typically make married men typically make more money than single men. One of the reasons is because of that driving force, which is I want to leave a legacy. I want to do well by my family. There is a total different why behind the guy that is married versus the guy that's single. And then even in the public forum, they look at married men way different than they look at single men, right? If you look at it even from a political, when candidates come out, there was a guy by the name of Cory Booker. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but he's a senator, right? Before he ran, he was single. When he ran, he automatically had a fiance. So that lets you know that he knows that people look at him differently as a result, right? So I would say that would be another reason why it's not good for man to be alone, outside of the fact that we were created to be together.
Right.
There are some that were anomalies that Paul talked about, like it's better to be single, but he even said this is just me. Like he said, "This is my opinion," right? He didn't put that on anybody. So why do you think marriage is still needed, even when people say they're fine being single? Single, single. They even made a TV show about it, right? Living single.
Right.
Are you old enough to even know that show?
I know about living single. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I ain't watched it like that, but I know about it. I know
That's,
about it.
that's what's up.
But yeah, why marriage is needed. Back to like accountability. I think accountability is big. It
Wow.
definitely it's not just about you. It's not just about you. You have your partner. Kind of hitting on what I was saying earlier, like that piece of like that bigger why, like somebody to hold you accountable, somebody to like you can't if it's just you, then you can slack off and do whatever. I would hope not, but it's easier to it's just you, bro. So like, but if you have that spouse, you have the bigger meaning. There's somebody who's dependent on you, who's right there with you. Then it definitely helps. It definitely makes it needed from that perspective. And I
That is good.
yeah,
Continue. I'm just
you're good. No, yeah, definitely accountability. And I think too, just from like since we're talking Bible talk from a spiritual perspective, like I think that's just the way that God made it. Like he had man and woman, he wanted them together. It definitely I think is needed because as a man, like we have it, for me personally, I'll just say me personally, me being married, it definitely like it provides structure. It provides like I have a place to go home now. I'm not just out like when I'm when I'm on my purpose, when I'm on a journey or I'm working, whatever, like I'm not out wasting it trying to be out in the streets or doing whatever, because I have a responsibility and I have somebody who's waiting for me at home. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
and that helps. That's why it's needed.
That's solid. That's a man. Listen, appreciate your wisdom, bro. I seen it when I had watched one clip, and I was like, okay, I need to reach out to this dude because I see wisdom. I knew you. I didn't know how old you were, but I knew that there was wisdom in even as a young dude, and I could hear it, and I could hear that you look for wisdom. Right? It's not a matter of okay where it comes from, but I know that I gotta get it. Right?
Right.
I know because it's gonna make me better. That's what I see. What you say. It says walking in your vision. Right? So I talk to guys all the time about you know if you don't have a vision and you want a woman, like you out of line.
Agree.
Why would you want a woman to come alongside something she has no clue of
Mm.
and you don't have a clue of what you're doing, but you want her to be right beside you in the fact that you don't know what you're doing. It makes absolutely no sense. So from your perspective, what's the biggest mistake men make trying to lead their families?
The biggest mistake men do trying to lead their families, I think, and you kind of hit on it, when you're trying to lead, but you don't have any direction on where you're leading them.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's a scary thing, especially if the wife is obedient and wants to follow her man no matter what, and she's gonna follow you, but you're leading her to her own demise.
Yeah.
That's really scary because if a man, like how you're saying, if you're working at your vision, whatever that is, and you might not have the goal, you might not know exactly how you're gonna get there, but she's just like, look, this is the goal, this is what I'm gonna do, this is the plan, I got it mapped out. Just follow this, but it's at least going in the right direction. I think that's good. But when there's a man who's he has no respect for his wife, he's out, he's doing whatever, he's not even leading her, he's not just doing things in the household to to lead her from that perspective. I think that it's an issue, man. So I do.
Yeah. That is I think one of the biggest mistakes is men in leading their families. One, I would say there are a couple in general, but I think one of the biggest mistakes I would say taking her for granted.
Mhm.
Meaning you chose this woman for a particular reason. However, you may not be utilizing all of her skill set in that sense, right? And so you believe that all the things that you say are what needs to go, and what she says doesn't really go, or you'll pick and choose every now and then. So but what I've learned is that, like, for example, my wife, she's a beautician, right? She does hair. However, she talks to a lot of women, right? Because they're in her chair. And so I listen to her talk to me and learn more about women, as well as not only that, her skill set. One of the things that she has to do is she has to color hair, right? So in that explains a lot because it's chemistry. So that lets you know that there's an intellect there because everybody cannot be a chemist.
Right.
Mixing colors to make sure that somebody's hair, we talking about putting color on hair is not the easiest thing to do. We've seen people mess it up all the time, right? And not only that, the way that means that she also has to listen, right? So when she has people in her chair, they're talking and they listen. So and not only that, she has really good ideas. She's a business owner. So when I met her, I said, okay, she's a business owner. So these ideas that she has as a business owner, that's some things that she could help me with. Another thing that she helped me with, she's a dope at cooking, right? I had never cooked, bro. You know what I'm saying? Until I met her.
Uh-huh.
And because she showed me how to grill, right? And at first, I was so scared because she want me to grill. I don't know what I'm doing, right? I don't even really know how to start fire. It's so, but because I humbled myself, it was a struggle because I had a fear that I would mess up in front of her. I was able to learn that from her, and that gave me another skill set to be able to feed the family, right? And the list goes on. And so I think that's one of the bigger mistakes as well for men. It's like, listen, you chose this woman. She has skill sets. She should be your uh she should be the person that you bounce your ideas off of. Allow her to poke holes in the ideas that you have, or just ask questions, to see how will it do? And if she's yes, if she's a yes based upon that, that means she knows, she trusts you. Right? And you kind of answered all of the questions for her. So, and that's what they want. They want a peace of mind, you
Yeah.
know. Don't we we do too.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I guess my next question, because I hear I don't hear 5 years of marriage in this. I hear much more seasoned. What year was it that it kind of clicked for you? I know you're still working. Don't I'm not opposed to that, right? What I'm saying is that, but there is a time where something clicks. So what time period would you say that it clicked? Was it like yesterday? Like was it 2 days? You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, just no. I say year one was, I remember coming into marriage and I was already in the back of my mind. I always used to hear like that first year is just like it's the roughest year. And it was actually pandemic too. So like not only was it our first year, we was stuck in the house together 24/7. So I was like, oh boy, whatever. So we did it. And actually year one was like it was a breeze, man. It was probably like I was like, oh, this is like marriage is easy. What are they talking about? This is the easiest thing ever. Like we home, like we were both remote at the time. She cooking all day. Like life was good. Year one was smooth. Then year two hit. Bah. That's what, yeah. I think year two hit. That's when I was like, okay, cool. This is okay. This is what they talking about. All right, that. It's getting a little rougher here, but I think, and so that was a lot of struggle, trial and error through there. But I think the clicking moment would have been that year three ish. After that, I can't pinpoint the exact time frame because, like to your point, just the other day, I'm still working on myself, right? So I don't have it all together. So I'm constantly learning a new version of her today that was not here yesterday. So I'm really trying
That's
to
crazy.
figure it out. That's real talk.
Yeah, it's like when you said it, all I could see was like the new phone come out.
Yeah, no, seriously. Because life changes, and then you add, and then so I'll say year three starts clicking, right? But then we have our son. So then you add a kid into the mix. So
Yes.
now it's like it's a reflip all over again. So not only am I like learning just where I was like, okay, cool, I'm getting a groove. So now you just added a plus one to it. Her body's changing. I'm trying to understand that. That was a whole struggle trying to figure that out. So it's hard to pinpoint it. Like I feel like that year two is three, after three, that's when it clicked. But then it was like, then there's another click, then there's another click. So like it's constantly like just trying to, that's why I think where they say like marriage is like literally is work every day. Like
Yes.
you can't click on year three and just be like, all right, I'm good for the rest.
You
Like
can't
that's how
coast
it
in
works.
marriage if I do it.
That ain't how it works. Like just because it clicked on year three, like, all right, now what? Now you got to figure it out again. So it's constantly learning and evolving and trying to be better. So, but yeah, I
That's
think
good. That's good. We because we are one, we're flawed individuals that are changing.
right.
Right. Whether we're getting better or we're stagnant in something, the age of us is the change that we're having, right? And so that, like the click, I would say for me, like I'm still working. I'm new in this particular marriage, right? Um, the click for me, I know will be when there is a cohesiveness as it relates to communicating.
Mm,
When I know that whatever I say, she will hear it from love, right? And vice versa, right? Because when two individuals are able to operate from the position of that, what I hear from you is that you love me, and this the thing that bothers you
mm,
about me, and the guards come down, you're able to experience each other way different. Not saying that there's not going to be turbulence, but the turbulence happens differently. You know, oh, I'm sorry, you're able to deal with the turbulence differently.
right.
Have you heard of the study where it says that most married people argue about the same thing 70% of the time?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the reason why people don't stay married is because they couldn't figure out how to deal with the 70%.
Mm,
And so I believe that when we come together to figure out how to deal with the 70%, from a love perspective, seeing each other as though we, I think that is when it will click. Like there are things that have clicked for me in this one, but it's year two. And I have 4 kids from my late wife, and she has one child that's an adult, right? So we have ages 7, 11, uh 14 and 16, and she has a 24-year-old.
Mhm.
So now I have a blended family and having to figure out how to do those things as well, right? So it is always and will forever be changing. So I like that you said that it hasn't never it has clicked, but I'm still learning and
Yeah.
you know and still growing. So how can I wanted what I want to ask you this question because you seem like this type of guy now, but wasn't before, based on what you said. So
Right.
don't beat me up. All right. So what does humility look like in marriage for a husband? Because in the beginning you was like, it was just whatever I said.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that humility now looks like in a marriage?
Yeah, humility is literally it's not putting myself aside for the betterment of the team. Like we're a team and like not going with I because I understand that I might have a way that I want to see it. I have a way that I want to do it. And humility is literally every day saying, all right, I might have it this way, but collectively, how are we looking together? And if I'm not running point, and maybe she's running point this time, or me playing cheerleader or back, like supporting her, like whatever that looks like, is in different seasons of our lives, and we've experienced that a lot just in recent, just with all like changes in life and stuff that I've learned, especially in the last year, of how to be more like like humility has been a big thing for me. So even outside of like how we spoke of earlier, where it's just like I would have my way, and then I would have a way that I want to do it, and I won't initially go for what she says, and like, but then initially I'll come back to it. I'm even now just trying to be more like, okay, just going the first way of like, hey, look, taking a back seat, and if she's stronger in an area, and just really allowing her to like to do that, because like you said, like how you were saying, like your wife has like certain strengths and stuff. Like my wife's a boss, man. She does things, and I understand that, and I've seen it, and it'd be for the collective of our team to keep moving forward as a union. It'd be me doing a disservice of our home to be like, nah, I know you're good at this, but I'm gonna still do it because I'm the man. Nah, I mean, I understand that, like, hey, look, there's times where you might just be doing you, and then I'll play backseat, and then when it's my turn, I'll do it too. But yeah,
Whoever is efficient should
right,
take should be scoring in that particular position. What reminded me of when you said teamwork was are you familiar with basketball?
for sure. That's my sport.
Right. That's a bet. Okay. So do you remember when Russell Westbrook and KD were playing together, right?
Okay, see,
KD, Russell Westbrook took way more shots than KD, but KD was more efficient.
right,
So it was like, oh, why would you not give it to the person that's more efficient than you? Use it uh, because if you do that, you all become much more of a threat of a team, right? And then if I put that into a marriage, the devil has to deal with both of you
hmm,
because y'all both are operating in your purpose and you all are working together as a team. And obviously he's gonna come at you even harder as a result of it. However, you'll be more seasoned and well put together and understand where the defense is coming from because y'all talking.
exactly,
Right. Well, and on the pick and roll, if y'all communicate, it's a hard play to stop, but you can stop it a lot of times if you communicate. Right. That's really what it boils down to. So, I hope that people that are listening that they understand that communication is you finding a safe space for both of you all. Right, as Davon communicated that if you give a safe space to the other person, then hopefully they will reciprocate what it is that you're looking for. Um, how can this is a tough question, I think, for people because in a marriage there are going to be times where y'all just don't get along,
hmm,
and there will be times where somebody's going to say things or do something that the other person didn't like. So my question to you is how can couples from your perspective rebuild after trust is broken?
how can couples rebuild after trust has been broken? Um, I think it takes time. I do.
Okay.
I think it takes you literally having patience and like giving the other person, if you've done something and you know that you've broken their trust, you have to literally first ask the questions of what it takes to rebuild it, and then start
Mm,
acting on those things. Going back to before, if you don't even know what they're looking for from you, then how can you rebuild it? And it could be for whatever that situation is you're in. If it's like, all right, look, you don't trust me, but like, hey, look, here's the phone, full access password, whether you want to do that or not, but like just showing you like, hey, look, this is what it is. So like whatever standards that they're creating, if you put yourself in a situation that broke trust, you're gonna have to drop the guard and just be like, well, no, I ain't giving my phone. But if you did something and you really want to build it back up, then I do think that you have to open that door to what things there is in a reasonable standpoint. And I think once you do build that trust and get back to a point, then whatever it is that you're having to start doing, I think it'll go out the window and they won't even be kind of like looking for that as much. But I think that's it. Like I think rebuild it from that perspective.
that's really good, homie. That's really good. Um, so you just told me that you're a dad. Shout out to you,
Appreciate you. Thank
100%. One of the hardest and rewarding things to do is to be a father, for sure. So, with that being said, how has marriage shaped your view of fatherhood?
How has marriage shaped my view of fatherhood? Oh man, I have such a bigger appreciation for my wife, for one. Um,
Mm,
I really do. Just coming into having a kid, I didn't. It's like as a man, like I know you get it. You've been in, you know what I mean, biology class and all that, but like to like actually see what her body went through and what she sacrificed before even giving birth, just from the day she found out to the whole time and even after, like I really did have a different love and appreciation for her in the marriage. Like I was thankful that I got a son and my son out of it and I would love him, but I also, it's like my love for her grew even more because it's just like, man, like I understand how much that she has to do until this day. Like let's say even fast forward, he's almost 3, but it's just like just the sacrifice and the love that she gives and pours into him on top of her career when she's tired and doesn't have it. It's like I get to see her from a different perspective. Like I get to see her really have love and pour love, not just for me, but loving another part of me too. And it's just like it's definitely helped the marriage from for me. I love seeing it. I love seeing her be a mom. Um, and I just have a newfound appreciation for her, to be honest with you, man. I really do.
that's what's up. Hey, when I became a dad for the first time, I was like, I cannot believe this just came out of her. Even though I know.
Right.
Oh man, I mean, I can never not remember that day for the first time becoming a father. And fast forward to now, I have to remember that this is what I wanted, you
Mhm.
know. Even in because it's going to be challenging because we're almost 3. Oh, Turbo Threes is coming. Turbo Threes is coming. So be prepared for that. Uh, that with my children now, there is a they make me want to squabble up pretty regularly, right? And so, but as it relates to being how has it shaped me as a father? It's made me want to get them prepared for their marriage.
Mm,
And so, I remember when Kirk Cameron was at our church one day, and he was talking about how you got to remember as a parent that you're parenting somebody's spouse.
mm,
So, and how you parent them will be what goes into that marriage. And so that's how I look at things. And so they lost their mom. And so now I'm remarried. And so I'm trying to do the exact same thing in this marriage, which is, yes, this is your stepmom, but I want you to see how I still how I love her and what it looks like to, spend time with her, how it looks to, even if we have a disagreement, you all still need to respect her, all those different things, right? Uh, that what I see is that I want them to look at I look at them as I want them to be as prepared as possible to be a good spouse for somebody. That's how I look at when I'm raising them. And then when I look at them, I even tell them. Told my sons the other day, listen, man, how y'all going? This is not good, but I want y'all to know that I'm preparing you all to be upstown. I want y'all to be young men that chase after God and love God, and everybody around you sees it.
Mm.
That is what I'm wanting to do. So when you all are making these decisions not to be obedient to me, that's a struggle for me, right? Because I know that I taught you something different. Like like for example, as if they lie, I said, "Have you ever seen me do that? Do you know me to do that?" They say no. I said, "So then what you're showing me is that you're not paying attention, right? You're concerned about the consequence as opposed to if you made a consequence, living up to it and then apologizing for it, right?" So that's the part of the fatherhood that I found in being married. And this will be the last question, um, possibly, unless you have something you wanted to add. What legacy do you want your children to see in your marriage?
Hmm. Great question. I want. I remember how I started off. I said I came into marriage with the foundation of what I didn't want, just based off of what I saw. I think it'd be a job well done if my kids come into a marriage saying my mom and dad laid out the perfect blueprint,
Mm,
and I love the way mom loved dad and dad loved mom. I love the way they interacted, how they still went out. And I want to emulate that in my own marriage going forward in the future. I think that if that narrative changes where it's just like I loved their mom so much that my son, if I love his mom so much that when he goes forward and he's looking for something, he wants to love his next person just based off of that. I feel like then that's a job well done. Just in the marriage from a marriage perspective of legacy, I would feel like just one that he wants to be married, even in a society that we have now that I've embedded in him that like I don't care what it is, like you know what you want. This is what you want, and I pray that that's what he wants to do. And not only that, but then being a good husband to his future wife, but based off of the love. And I think that would be a real like full circle moment for me.
yeah,
Even to hear him say like, yeah, I'm looking for that in my marriage. And this is like, I just, because I know what it feels like to just be like, that ain't what I'm looking for. I wanted the exact opposite. So it's like, that would be like a job well done, in my opinion, because that meant that whatever he saw growing up, he felt it, he loved it, and he wants to emulate it in his own life. So that's how I would look at it.
that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal, homie. That yeah, I've asked my children that question: do they want to be married? And they've all said yes. I said even with the tragedy that y'all saw, and then having the transition and the moving and things of that nature, y'all still want to be married? And they said yes, because for my oldest daughter, she's 16. She says because I want companionship.
Mm,
I was like, wow,
I love it.
wow, and so that was big. And then my oldest son, he's like, I want to be a husband and a dad. Like I want that. I like the part where spending the time together, being able to uh, pour into my kids. Like the time that he wants doesn't isn't is nothing about going out and playing any game, anything like that. He just wants to sit and glean from me
Mm,
as his dad. Like that's what he said. I said, "You don't want to go and hang out or something, do something?" He said, "No, I just want to ask questions." I, I want to be a better. I want to be a better dad. Yesterday he said, "I want to be a better big brother." I want to be better at these things. So even though they have their challenges, my older two, they doing a really good job. My younger two, eh, you know what I'm saying? I'm working with them, right? But it's a part of the process. And so for me, I want my legacy to be that you learn something from me to implement into
Mm,
your relationships. And the most important thing for me is that they accept Christ
mm,
and they follow Christ. And if they do that, I think so many other things will be added and be given them favor for. You know. So that's my thought process. And by the way, this is just a segue for those that follow Humble Dad. I've been writing. I just finished a grief journal for teens, and I'll be coming out with that. So look forward to that. And I'm gonna let Davon give the last words. What did you like to tell the people, young sir, before we get out of here?
appreciate that, man. I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great conversation. I love the whole thing we have going, like the whole humble dad. Like even when I saw the name of it, I'm like, I kind of feel like I embody that, man. Just like just being a humble dad, like nothing too crazy. So, but no, I do think that in this society, I know how we started off as just like how it's not a narrative of like we're not pushing for marriage. Like that's not the thing that's not the cool thing to do. I personally just say that there's not enough people, there's not enough conversations like this. There's not enough people that's out there saying, especially young people, that's just like, hey, look, marriage is cool. Marriage is actually good. Marriage is fun. Like I actually love it. Like me and my wife, we love each other still. We travel the world. We do things. Like I enjoy marriage. And I think it's like it's a good thing. And so I promote it. And that's what I try to do on my platform as well. So I thank you for having this type of conversations on your channel because it's much needed and having me on here. It's been a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
That's what's up. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on social media at Working at Your Vision on TikTok and on YouTube. That's my platform where I speak on purpose, faith, fitness, and all things. Working at Your Vision. It's actually a play on words for Wavy, which is spelled WAYV. So that's my health and wellness brand. So if anyone that's herbal supplements, superfoods, protein powders, things like that. So Wavy Wellness on Instagram, and then Working at Your Vision is where we talk on the purpose side from that. So
That's phenomenal, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Hey, send me email me your information about your stuff that you got going on, man. I definitely want to see how I can support you, bro.
yeah, for sure. I'll shoot that over, man. Appreciate you.
For sure. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
Peace.